Hello, and welcome to a live recording of Guide to the Unknown. I'm Will.
Hi, and I'm his big sister, Kristen.
Yeah.
How is everybody?
How's it going, everyone? Yeah. Hello, Kit Kat, JD, Monica, Anastasia, Kit Kat. I already said you. Brittany, Sarah, Rachel, Luke.
Hello.
Wow, this is crazy. CT 1409. Nice. Welcome back.
Happy to have you.
And Rebecca. Wow, everybody. This is really, this is exciting.
Yeah.
There's so many people in here.
That's
feel free
so
to...
cool. Becca's binging the podcast for the second time. And they're on episode 85. That's awesome.
I wonder what an 85 is. I'm gonna pull it up just out of curiosity.
Yeah. That's so cool.
That's so cool.
Glad you like it.
All right, 85
The show's
might
so nice,
be.
you gotta listen twice.
It's Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, this is perfect.
Okay.
Five Nights at Freddy's and the Secret UFO Program update.
Oh, incredible.
Which couldn't be more spot on for what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, good timing.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey.
Yo.
Awesome.
Cool, everyone. No, really excited to have you here. Consider sharing.
Yeah.
Get the word out there. Check all the links and stuff in our little pre-show bar that we've got up here.
Yeah, if people are curious about the report that the Pentagon put out about UFOs, they might enjoy this show.
Yeah, I think so. I've got like a melange of updates.
Yeah.
Of just weird stuff here and there.
Okay.
I think I agree with you, what you were saying before. I think it's just going to be a good like conversation about this stuff.
Yeah. So did you do people's reactions to what the report is, or what did you do?
Partially that got redundant, and then I started looking up other stuff. Which
Like
is kind
what?
of fun. Oh, I'll just say it for the
But
show.
like what category of stuff?
Like UFO-centric things. I looked up on some of our old friends in the UFO arenas. That might get your brain thinking in some directions there.
Okay.
Yeah, some of my stuff is like update type stuff.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Rachel. Rachel said I look like a model with my hair blowing.
Yeah.
I feel like Beyonce.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Cool, everybody. Do you want to...
AC. Or not, like, yeah, it's a fan.
Oh, my God.
If only I were about to be beamed up.
If only,
this light makes it look like it.
If only there were AC.
Yeah.
My house is 100 years old. There is no central air in here.
Gosh.
And it's been quite toasty.
The baby's been at my house a few times this week.
Yeah.
Too toasty.
Too toasty.
For the baby. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody follows my social media. I've been in the woods a little bit this week. I wonder why. I wonder why I would have been in the woods in the middle of the night.
It's already revealed why that is. I don't know why you're being coy about it.
I don't know. That was co-directing a Blair Witch video.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to just do the show?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody. We're just going to launch right in.
Yep.
Have fun. Have a ball. Have a blast. Oh, I want to try this. Somebody last week, who was doing this? Mel was doing this.
Oh, the super chat.
The super chat thing.
Yeah.
If you want to try getting us to do reactions mid-show,
Yes.
you can super chat and give us faces that we have to make. I want to make sure
right.
I will never want to jeopardize the audio show.
Of course.
So if we don't do one, we'll catch up at the end and do a face-a-thon. But feel free to hit us with those super chats. It's something that I've overlooked, and it's neat.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the deal is, what Will is saying, just to be totally clear, is that if you do a super chat and you say, like, turn and stick your tongue out or something, whatever you want to do facial wise, while we're talking, because the super chats come up and they look like this big, like, colorful chunk on our screen as opposed to just the black and white text. If we see that as we're talking, we'll look, we'll be like, okay, I got to do that thing. Be like, yeah, so the Pentagon says, well, I'll do it so it doesn't mess
while
up
you're not talking.
Yeah.
But yeah. And
Will be like, so the Pentagon is saying, and while he's doing that, I'll be like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And maybe if you have like questions for us, maybe we're able to see the super chats at the end and go directly to the super chat questions and answer those or something like that. Comment.
Yeah, I'm cool with that too.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know for sure I can see them all at the end. So we'll treat it like an experiment.
Yeah.
But yeah, feel free to do that kind of stuff because it's just kind of a fun way for the stream to be a little tiny bit more interactive.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for it.
All right.
Okay.
You want to go for it?
Yep.
Cool.
Hello. Welcome to Guide. Oh, wait, you're going to do the thing.
Oh, yeah. You want to do that?
Sorry. Yeah.
Just remember, they will be able to hear you.
I know.
All right, everybody. Time to start the show.
Hello. Are you going to listen to a podcast? Do you like scary podcasts? What's your favorite
Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we are talking about the UFO report that was declassified by the Pentagon last week.
Yeah, exactly 1 week ago, June 25th, 2021, the Pentagon released a 9-page declassified document explaining their recent studies into UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's really 8 pages because one of those pages is the appendix.
Okay.
So it's light. It's lighter than some people thought it was going to be.
I read it with supper.
Yeah. You could have it with dinner. But yeah, they basically acknowledged the UFO reports that a lot of people in the military have been sharing publicly.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that a lot of people were waiting for this report to drop and thinking maybe this is going to either confirm or deny things in a very deliberate, specific way about whether or not aliens exist or have made contact, or what are these claims that people are making about seeing something out in the sky. And ultimately, the report turned out to be a little more ambiguous.
Yes.
And led to people having really just one of 3 reactions. A lot of people I saw instantly went, huh, it's nothing. I knew it'd be nothing. Then some people went, it's not nothing, you loser. Don't you know how to read between the lines?
Yeah.
Aliens are real. Or people going like, yeah, what'd you think? They were going to say that aliens exist? Like, the discourse around it has been the opposite of entertaining.
Yeah.
Or delicious.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be scrumptious.
Right. Not so tasty.
No, it's
No.
complicated. It's a little more complicated than you would anticipate, which to me makes a certain amount of sense.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by it whatsoever. I would have been surprised if they were like, okay, yes, here's the deal.
Right.
We have found some evidence of like conscious extraterrestrial life that is manning crafts that we can't explain.
Yeah.
I would find that beyond shocking. This is exactly what I thought would happen.
Yes. And not only that, so I watched some videos and stuff of people talking about this, and my research for the week, I really just tried to look up some of our old friends, our old Guide to the Unknown friends like Dan Aykroyd.
Okay. Good idea.
Or the To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences.
And see what they had to say about
run by
it.
Tom DeLonge, to see if they have any updates or anything.
Right.
And then I just looked into some UFO adjacent things. Such as the fact that as this show drops on July 2nd, 2021, it's
July 1st. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
We're recording July 1st. As it
Yes.
drops on Friday, it is evidently World UFO Day.
Yeah, I found that out because I'm a social media manager, and there are these like calendars that I have access to that tell you like, you know, it's National Donut Day or whatever.
Right.
And it turns out that today, as you listen, if you are live, is UFO Day.
Yeah, so happy World UFO Day, everybody. I hope
Yes.
you're, doing something momentous to celebrate.
Oh, absolutely.
I do want to explain to you what this is, because I looked into it a little bit, Kristen.
Oh, perfect.
World UFO Day, and this is from Wikipedia, is an awareness day for people to gather together and watch the skies
Oh, that's
for
nice.
unidentified flying objects. The day is celebrated by some on June 24th instead, and others on July 2nd. June 24th is the date that aviator Kenneth Arnold reported what is generally considered to be the first widely reported UFO in the United States, while July 2nd commemorates the supposed UFO crash in the 1947 Roswell incident.
Aha. Okay.
There is a website for World UFO Day. It is worldUFOday.com. They have a PDF explaining how to celebrate.
Oh.
The PDF is from 2012.
Very good.
The website has not been updated in a while.
Okay.
And on their PDF, they explain what World UFO Day is and how you're going to celebrate and stuff. And there was a big section that caught my eye that just said activities.
Barbecue.
Barbecue.
All right.
But that, if you pay slightly more attention, is under a subheader called possibilities. So possible barbecue.
What are the other events that are possibilities?
I will explain them, but I just want to clarify that this says there will most likely not be a barbecue, but it's possible.
Could be.
It's also possible there won't be a barbecue.
Right.
Which is amusing to me. So the other possible ways to celebrate are a conference with guest speakers. That's a great idea, a great possibility. A UFO or alien movie, book presentation, workshop, creative activities,
Okay.
which you would think would be its own section. Beamer.
They probably didn't have time to come up with creative activities, so they're just like, choose your own adventure, do something creative.
Come up with something cool, let us know.
Yeah.
Beamer presentation / UFO material. I have no idea what a beamer is. And then the last bullet point is your own ideas.
They were having fun. Look, they thought that the world was ending. It was 2012. Jury was still out.
Maybe it did for some. That's why it hasn't been updated.
That's true.
But they also have an interactive map to show all the celebrations happening around the globe.
Oh.
There aren't that many.
Okay.
The nearest one for us is like 5 hours away.
Okay.
And it just says like insert information here. You know, there's like nothing.
Just waiting for us to fill that void with a celebration.
Precisely.
Which is this podcast. You guys are all at it.
You're all
I hope you're enjoying the celebration.
Guide to the Unknown's official World UFO Day celebration.
That's right.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome. Will, I realized we have been saying like, oh, people have been saying this about the report, saying that about the report, but we haven't said what the report has.
True, yes.
In it. So why don't we go to that? And Will and I, before the show, decided that we're just going to we're not going to do our traditional, like, I do one, part of the topic and then throw it to Will. Will and I are just going to talk about this.
Yeah.
This week. Because everything we have kind of intersects with each other. So the report basically acknowledges that there are UFOs, except that they call them UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena.
That seems to be the new name.
Yeah. I think it's trying to kind of take it's trying to legitimize them a little bit, make them a little bit less silly sounding, because now UFOs have been co-opted as like a goofy thing, and they're trying to kind of delineate and say we're taking this seriously.
And it's interesting too, because a UFO, an unidentified flying object, means that the thing you are tracking is an object,
right.
Whereas UAP, an unexplained aerial phenomenon, doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing. An
Right.
aerial phenomenon could be a weather event. You know what I mean?
That's
so
true.
It broadens the scope to me, while also, yes, of course, dodging using UFO, which everybody just thinks is silly now.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I wonder, I hadn't really thought about it that way, but I wonder if that could be like leaving space for, holograms or things that we don't even really totally know about yet. Like
Really?
It's not a solid, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not a solid object, because I know that some UFOs, I'm still just going to keep calling them UFOs. It's more fun.
Everybody is.
I know.
Everybody is.
Some people are saying UAP, but whatever. So some UFOs have been written off in the past as being some sort of optical illusion. So I don't know. What if they were not solid, but it
Right.
still was some sort of unidentified thing?
Yeah.
I'm just saying this as I think of it right now. I have no idea.
I agree with you. I think that it's supposed to leave the door open for like a vapor that's detected, or it could be really literally anything.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think the big number one goal is don't say UFO because it makes us sound foolish.
Totally, which I would think is a little bit sillier if not for the fact that the report is also talking about the fact of the matter that a lot of people don't report them, or reported them so late because they knew that they would be ridiculed and made fun of.
Right.
So rather than making this a silly thing, let's make it a little bit more official. We'll call it UAPs. Maybe that makes some people in the military or beyond feel a little bit less goofy about saying like, hey, I saw one of these.
Yes. Yeah, that's entirely
because they
possible.
acknowledge that. They're like, it's a societal cultural thing now to see this stuff. It has kind of they didn't say stigma, but that's basically what they were saying, that prevents people from coming forward.
Right.
So we have to take that into account when we hopefully formalize systems for reporting.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that I thought was interesting in it, that the Secretary of Defense said that they want to have some sort of standardized reporting protocol, so that it's not just the onus is on you to just out of the blue go to your superior or however this works and be like, hey, guess what? I saw an alien spacecraft. They want to have something that's anonymous, that's the same reporting system for everybody. Everybody's giving the same sort of information because they're all answering the same questions.
Yeah, and honestly, it's kind of interesting that they're only doing that now.
Yes.
Because in the report, one of the big things that they say is that up until now, there has not been any way to report these things if you work for the government. It was exclusively done through hearsay.
Yeah, just telling somebody, like, with your mouth.
I saw something, which then obviously leaves the door open for people to be like, You were, sleeping, hallucinating. You didn't really see it. It was something else. Blah, 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 blah. Which obviously I think is most likely the case for all of this stuff. But still, you would expect the government to have, so much red tape or bureaucratic nonsense around, like, what'd you see, soldier? Mm-hmm. All right, fill out Form 89B.
Right.
And there wasn't. There was nothing. And I think that as a matter of fact... Yeah, they're only starting as of last year having a way to report these things formally.
Right. It's cuckoo. And I think something that's interesting is that if there's a formal way to report them, that means there's also going to be a formal way to deal with them. So on the other side of reporting, there's probably going to be a standardized way that you research these supposed sightings and see what's going on. So hopefully it'll be a little bit more thorough than you're probably tired.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. So they call it the UAPTF, the Unexplained Aerial Phenomenon Task Force.
Yeah.
So this thing exists. It's been funded. In the report, they say they need more funding to be able to adequately determine anything.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess it's kind of interesting that they're going after it at all.
Yeah, I mean, the flip side of being there's nothing in this report is that they're acknowledging that this is a thing at all, which they haven't done formally in the past. This all started because that famous Tic Tac video where it's a UFO that's kind of shaped like a Tic Tac that somebody who is in, I believe, the Navy sees in their scope. That was leaked unofficially in 2017. So that's really the start of and the only reason that then I think 2 years later or maybe even 3 years later, the Navy finally acknowledged that video is real and true, that that is an official Navy video. They didn't say it's an official Navy video and that's a UFO and it's an alien or whatever, but they're like, that is from us. That wasn't all made up. And it's a thing.
Yeah.
And so that wouldn't... so just their acknowledging things is kind of cuckoo. That, if that video hadn't come out, this report probably wouldn't have come out. Those leaks sort of nudged them into acknowledgement, which has never happened before.
But then after that, they themselves specifically released some videos. They released 3 videos.
I know, but I'm saying I don't think that we would just randomly have done that if that leak didn't happen.
I agree. I just think it's weird almost that they're doing it at all. I'm used to the pop culture explanation of the movie The Faculty, Elijah Wood and Lawrence Dunna.
It's Lawrence Dunna, Josh Hartnett.
Thank you. But in that movie, there's a scene where they're all...
Lawrence
How did
Dunna.
you know that I was saying Josh Hartnett?
I don't know.
When I said Lawrence Dunna.
Family connection. Well, also he's in The Faculty. I didn't have to narrow it down to all the actors.
I guess that's true. Mimi Rogers, isn't she in that?
I think she is. John Stewart.
John Stewart, of course. But
Clea Duvall.
I think there's a scene where Elijah Wood is giving a very Scream-esque, very Randy from Scream explanation of UFOs and being like, "Don't you think that the government allowed people to make movies like E.T. and come up with all the tinfoil hat, making fun of UFO people stuff, so that we'd all agree, yeah, this is silly."
Yeah.
When really there's actual secret nefarious stuff that they're up to. Basically, the government will deny, and allow people to quote-unquote leak stuff, knowing that no one will ever believe it.
I think that it was a little bit different when Luis Elizondo came out, who worked for the Pentagon.
Right.
And said all this stuff.
Now we're getting people that had worked for the government, talking on CNN.
Right. So I think otherwise they probably would have just blown it off, but it's a fact that he worked for the Pentagon on this stuff. You could look it up. So they couldn't deny that or brush it under the rug. So I'm sure it was kind of damage control. How do we not look like we're hiding things? Even though it took years, we'll acknowledge that video is an official video. That really is footage from that pilot's camera or whatever. And then I think it kind of snowballed into this because that made people ask questions and eventually they gave some answers.
But here's the thing, I posted, admittedly not very long ago, but I posted in the group, in the Guide to the Unknown group. I said, we're going live in an hour to talk about the recent UFO news, or lack thereof. Legit question, has any of the news about the U.S. government's alien report reached you? What do you think about it? And so I put out a poll. The UFO footage is aliens, the UFO footage is not aliens, or what are you talking about? Because outside of Guide to the Unknown, I haven't seen anyone talk about this stuff.
I follow all this crap, so I see it.
I guess but like out in the field talking to people,
Right.
it doesn't come up.
Yeah.
Like even at work, like at Hunt a Killer,
Uh-huh.
no one's talking about this. No one cares. Which is
People care.
really
Yes.
well in
They
the Guide
totally
to the Unknown
do.
group,
The nerd alien community cares, I assure you. Do you think that Ryan Sprague from Somewhere in the Skies didn't have a 3-hour live stream about this with a bunch of people in it? Of course he did.
But that's like it's we're in our weird Guide to the Unknown bubble.
But it's a fairly large, it's certainly a bubble.
Right.
But like, it's a lot of people who are freaking out about this.
So we've only got, admittedly, there are only a handful of entries on my poll, but it's basically a tie between the UFO footage is aliens and what are you talking about?
Okay.
It's 50-50. And then one person, JD, said the UFO footage is not aliens. JD, I'm with you. But 50% say, yeah, aliens, and 50% say, huh?
Yeah.
This isn't, I guess it's out there, but like, I don't know.
I mean, somebody
It wasn't a very on the surface exciting report.
No, no, it definitely wasn't. And it was released on a weekend, which is like a dead zone for news
In
releases. Yeah. So it probably was probably deliberately released at a time
At
where
a boring
people aren't.
time.
Yeah. Because I don't think that they're loving releasing this sort of stuff. I know nothing about it. I don't have any contacts, but the government has been so reluctant to acknowledge this publicly for so long that I don't think they're really chomping at the bit to be talking about UFOs. They're calling them UAPs, like all this stuff. So I don't think it was first of all, it isn't very exciting, the report. There's no bombast to it. So it's not going to make like tons of exciting news the same way that something else that confirmed extraterrestrials would, but also like they didn't release it on, whatever the best news day is for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And they had to do it within 180 days of whatever that document was that made them have to release this stuff. Remember, it's like this was like tacked on to some sort of like COVID law thing from a few months ago, and they waited like pretty much till the end of the 180 days. Like they're not like dying to do this.
Well, there's a whole other report. So we got a 9-page declassified report. There's something like a 40+ page classified
70.
report. 70? And I saw just ambiguous quotes from like senators that are like, I've seen the 70-page classified report and I'm unenthused.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, you legit have to read the longer version to come away also feeling a little ambivalent.
Yeah, totally. And there are people who are obviously like really diehard researchers and enthusiasts of this sort of stuff. And I feel bad for something because rumors get passed around that like, this isn't it. This is just the beginning. And maybe it is. But for example, last week people were like, we're hearing that Tuesday there's going to be something else that comes out about this, and like the community is going to be very excited. And nothing happened on Tuesday.
No. Yeah, well, every community has something like that. Like I'm a huge dork, and so I've been waiting for like Zelda news, and they'll be like, I can't let anything slip, but let's just say Link is going to be feeling pretty good on Thursday around 2 p.m.
Yes.
And you're like, why? And nothing happened.
What happened to Link?
It's literally nothing.
Same with Twin Peaks. Remember there was that that Twitter account that was like HollywoodArchives.com that was like big things happening or whatever, and they really stood by it. They're like, I'm telling you, it's a high up source. There's going to be an announcement soon. And like, I think maybe gave a date or something and nothing happened.
The announcement is there's no announcement.
There's no announcement. Now here's the number of the day. That's what he does on Instagram. I mean, on YouTube.
Here's a quote from the report. In 18 incidents described in 21 reports, so multiple people reported the same incident basically, observers reported unusual UAP movement patterns or flight characteristics. Some UAP appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion.
Right.
In a small number of cases, military aircraft systems processed radio frequency energy associated with UAP sightings. This is the one sentence that a lot of people are really pointing to say there's something substantial in the report.
Right.
Because the report is effectively communicating people have said that these things are able to move in a way that defies our understanding of physics or our understanding of the way that vehicles
Right.
interact with the environment. Like these things can suddenly pivot or there's no visible propulsion
Yeah.
system.
So no visible engine that's
Right.
driving them.
Yeah. And so, but the big thing that I think people are ignoring is that it says in 18 incidents described in 21 reports, observers reported ... They're not saying UAPs are able to
Yeah.
do X. They're saying people said UAPs are able to do X, which is very different.
It totally is. I wonder though if that Tic Tac video falls under that sort of category, because remember it was moving like insanely fast and
Yeah.
in weird ways that they don't know how to explain.
Yeah, the idea was that it
And
was
that's on
moving
video.
too fast to track.
Right.
Yeah, actually, for more on the Tic Tac, why don't we go to celebrity correspondent Dan Aykroyd?
Please.
So Dan Aykroyd was giving an interview to the Toronto Sun because he hosts a show called Hotel Paranormal.
Yes.
Okay. He does the narration or something. So they asked him a question at a certain point. They say, UFOs and ghost sightings seem to be increasingly in the news. Why do you think people are so receptive to the supernatural nowadays? Now, this is not, admittedly, a direct follow-up to the report being released or anything, but they're asking about UFOs recently.
Yeah.
So here's his recent answer. I think it's always been there. If you look at Shakespeare and other writings...
Dan Aykroyd and David Lynch's
they
voices
have the
are
same voice.
David Lynch's is a little higher, but still.
Yeah, you're right. It's always been there. If you look to Shakespeare and other writings throughout history, there are references to spirits and ghosts. There are ancient paintings of objects in the sky, but I think everyone is interested in power outside the human scope. Certainly, ghosts exert power outside of our human understanding that we can't comprehend, and that's fascinating to people. As far as these objects that people have photographed, that have been photographed by the United States military, there are many more now and different ones coming. What is astounding to the aerospace industry is the performance of these vehicles, the trans-medium travel where they go from air to water effortlessly. There are many shapes. If you want to Google up the Stingray UFO, it looks like a two-seater to me. He thinks that the quote-unquote Stingray UFO looks like a two-seater.
Nice.
Depends on how big you think aliens are.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
There could be 1,000 P2s on the thing.
Yeah, right. Who knows?
Who knows? But there are triangles, boomerangs. There's the Tic Tac, which is exactly what you were just referring to, which is, I think, from the 2004. It was
It's-
a leak from 2004.
2017.
The footage is 2004. I think it was
okay.
leaked in 2017. And there's the flying sphere encased in a cube that they photographed in the Atlantic. It's a tumbling square with this sphere inside it. So what's going on?
I haven't seen that. Have you
I
seen this
personally
tumbling?
would like to know.
You don't say.
And here's where it gets really interesting. And to convince these beings that fly these ships to share the wealth. Think about that Tic Tac and its performance capabilities. That could power an African country, give it clean water and power for a century.
What? We don't know anything about
We
it.
have no idea. So I say, come down, share the wealth, help Earth. You're visiting here like tourists, well, get involved. Come and give us answers to famine, water purification, to clean water and peace and violence. Get down here. We need your input.
I find that sweet.
It's sweet and it's
Yeah.
like innocent to a fault.
It's very innocent. Yeah. I mean, we don't know anything about
We
it.
don't know anything about them. Like, it could
I
literally
guess-
be like somebody driving past you on the highway and being like, stop, I bet you're helpful.
You're a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. I know you know everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pull over here and fix my car. I know
mean,
you know how.
I think some people think that UFOs might be powered by some sort of nuclear energy that
Right.
we don't understand. And so I guess the assumption is that that nuclear energy could go like real far.
Well, I think also the idea that if you develop interstellar travel,
Yeah, you must-
the implication is that your society has advanced. far beyond ours.
I understand that implication. I'm not against that implication if
Right.
we're going that way. But for all we know, that's nothing of them.
Right. Isn't there a whole other chance?
Like maybe they suck at like things that are very easy for us, and we suck at things that are like no big for them.
Yeah, also-
so like maybe that kind of travel is like nothing for them. It's like riding a bike with training wheels.
Yes.
But for us, that's like unfathomable, and maybe somehow us driving a car is like, whoa, excuse me, to them.
Sure. Well, also, like, somebody invented the car and now we drive them.
Yeah.
I don't know how any of that stuff works. So if I drive my car to a place and they go, oh, man, you got a car? Teach us how to make a car. I can't. What if there's another advanced
know.
civilization that, like, has passed down their technology in such a way that
Right.
they don't know how it's... How to actually do anything.
Yes.
Or what if Planet 1 is super advanced? They shared their technology with Planet 2, and now the beings from Planet 2 don't know how to do anything. They're the ones coming over
Who are
here.
visiting.
Yeah, who knows?
I got this from the dealership. I
Yeah.
didn't make it. I don't know.
Maybe
I
they
can't
killed-
share it.
Maybe they killed the people from Planet 1.
They could have.
And they're just like, well, we got all their technology now.
Right.
How do you solve famine? I don't know. I know how to create it.
Also, maybe I
I'm
don't
gonna kill
care.
you.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm a bad guy.
I don't know. I might be a bad guy.
We just don't know anything at all.
The interviewer to our point says, I kind of feel the opposite. I'm not really sure I want them sticking around if they're here. So he says, here's what Bruce Maccabee, a photo analyst who is a commander in the United States Navy, has written. The way governments are going to have to deal with the phenomenon is to ask 3 questions. Number 1, do the operators of these crafts like us? Or number 2, are these operators indifferent to us? Or number 3, are they malevolent? So he sort of acknowledges that there are a few possibilities here.
Right.
We just don't know. There have been occasions where weapons have been used, mostly heat rays.
Okay.
He says
Wait,
that heat
Dan
rays have been
Aykroyd says
used.
that?
He does. Some aircraft have been disabled throughout history, starting with Thomas Mantell in 1948. He witnessed this thing. There have been many pilots who have had interference and heat and radiation, but no outright attacks. Certainly, there have been abductions of humankind. But I don't think they're doing more than just abducting people. But who knows? Maybe the coronavirus is part of their plan.
Oh, boy.
Certainly, viruses are peppered down to our planet from space. Maybe they planted it. Certainly, the coronavirus
Who was
is
he
the
saying this
closest
to?
thing. The Toronto Sun.
Okay.
They primarily, I think, wanted to talk to him about Crystal Head vodka. Certainly, the coronavirus.
Remember when I pulled a bunch of quotes for that Dan? Well, by the way, we have an entire episode that's only about Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, I looked it
It's
up. I think
called-
it's 82.
Okay, yeah, so it's like called Dan Aykroyd Believes in Aliens, I think.
Guide to the Unknown 82. Dan Aykroyd believes in aliens and ghosts.
Yes. Okay. So it's all this stuff. And I pulled a quote about something ghosty from an interview he was doing about his book about Clamato.
Yeah. It's just, it becomes
Or no, it's the Caesar, which is made with Clamato.
it becomes part of everything.
Yes. It's a drink. It's like the Bloody Mary of Canada.
So he goes on to go, certainly the coronavirus is the closest thing to an alien invasion that we've had. Dealing with it is going to occupy us for many years. I don't think this will be over in 2 years. And then the reporter basically goes like, so when does Hotel Ghost premiere? They just like pivot back to whatever show, Hotel Paranormal.
That's awesome.
It's wild to just like ask him a question and then all of a sudden he's telling you that the coronavirus is an alien virus.
Right.
And you're like,
Does he think that? Or was he
What?
just spitballing in the moment?
I will once
What do you
again cite
think?
the time that I think he was guesting on the Larry King live show.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, well, UFOs have been here and I'm not kidding. I do believe that they're breaking the law.
Yeah,
And
right.
then he goes like, he's like, if they were watching what we did on 9/11, then goodbye human race. And it's like, he cites real world tragedy
Yeah. I never like that.
in alien politics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's like when people talk about the Mothman in connection with 9/11.
Right,
Or
and you're
even
like-
the Silver Bridge collapse, which is like the big Mothman thing from the
Right.
50s. Like,
Can't we just not sort of co-opt human misery into
Yeah.
our fun paranormal stories?
uh-huh.
Why
They are
does
not like chocolate and peanut butter.
COVID, which has like killed like more than 500,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
have to be part of the alien, adventure for Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah.
Or 9/11. Like, what are we doing?
It's just, well, you know what? I think that's genuinely just how
It's genuinely what he believes.
thinks.
Yeah.
Like he thinks about these things in terms of obviously lofty things like big events and stuff like that, because he's talking about the aliens potentially coming down and helping cure famine.
Right.
So he obviously is like large scale thinking about the idea of this stuff rather than us just being like, I don't know. It's interesting. It's weird that that thing moved that way. He like makes implications and leaps beyond
He sure
that.
does. I bet if you like serve him at a restaurant and you're like, do you know what you'd like to drink? He'll start talking about Crystal Head vodka for a while.
Yeah.
And then it'll be about the actual Crystal Heads themselves and the UFO theories around them.
Into. I don't know as much about the Crystal Heads as I want to.
Let's do another Dan Aykroyd episode.
Okay.
Let's talk about the Crystal Skulls and
Okay.
let's talk about Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, Will, before we move on and talk about even more alien stuff, I feel we have to talk about, because we do,
Yeah.
our sponsor, and because we want to.
Yes.
Tracy Michelle Bullock of simplicitydoyourdream.com. So, being an entrepreneur is very cool. A lot of people have taken that on.
It is very cool.
I mean, I'm not one, but you know.
I
guess we kind of
we're
are.
definitely
Yeah, we are.
entrepreneurs.
We are.
Yeah, come on.
We're not full-time ones.
Well.
It is very cool, though. And a lot of people have kind of taken that on, especially during the quarantine. They've either made that their full-time gig or taken on side gigs. But the thing is, it's also very, very hard because there are lots of like nooks and crannies where things that you wouldn't expect to have to know tend to pop up. But thankfully, just the way that you would hire a plumber to fix a hard toilet issue that you don't understand. This is beyond your understanding. It's not within your
Won't the
scope.
UFOs come help us fix our toilet issues that we don't understand?
They don't. Oh wait, no, that doesn't work. I was going to say they don't have to because Tracy Michelle Bullock can. Maybe she can.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe she can. But what she can definitely do is help you with a career plan because Tracy Michelle Bullock is an awesome career coach.
Yes, and we've even got a quote from Hannah Baldovino, an executive project manager and client management specialist, who says, Tracy has helped me brainstorm messaging, mission statements, ideas, and strategies, including opening up my confidence in my own writing and collaborative skills, which have been game changers.
Yeah, that sometimes just talking to somebody and getting a different perspective can give you so much confidence because especially if you work on your own in any capacity, you can get so in your head and compare yourself to other people and think you must just suck. And bouncing your work and your ideas off of somebody else, especially somebody who's qualified and can give you like kind of tried and true advice, can really elevate the way you act at work.
Don't understate the importance of being able to take something that you're nervous about and saying it out loud, or saying something you're nervous about out loud to somebody who can actually offer you constructive criticism and help direct you into, a more formalized, manner of thinking so that you can take your business and actually turn it into a success.
Totally. It's really a game changer. So among other things, Tracy offers free 30-minute coaching sessions, which I still think is so cool and so nuts.
Yeah.
And also, you can book those through Instagram with her. So it really could not be easier. You can also obviously do it on her website, simplicitydoyourdream.com. But it's just so simple to get in touch with her, and it's a super generous offer.
Yeah, so go check out Simplicity Do Your Dream and make your appointment for career coaching from somebody who really gets it. Go follow at Tracy Michelle Bullock or go to simplicitydoyourdream.com. And just for Guide to the Unknown listeners, Tracy is offering 20% off your first month of coaching if you name drop GTTU Pod when you get in touch with her.
Yeah, it's so awesome. So that's Tracy Michelle Bullock. Michelle has one L in it on Instagram at www.simplicitydoyourdream.com and let Tracy know that GTTU Pod sent you for an extra 20% off.
Bam, go do it.
Boom.
Real quick, as we pivot back in,
Yes.
Can I give you sort of a mini, because I started looking something up
Please.
that I think might just be interesting and is certainly right on theme with UFOs, UAPs, all that stuff. So I was hanging out with some friends over the weekend, and we were talking about the UFO report. And I used a phrase that I've seen other people online use, and it got me thinking. I said, it's not just some tinfoil hat theory. The government's talking about it and releasing reports on it. but I've never really considered the tinfoil hat thing. Mm-hmm. So I looked into it. Tinfoil hats.
Oh, like literally the idea of tinfoil hats blocking aliens from being able to read your mind.
What is that? Where does it come from?
Yeah.
Do you think you know? Do you have any idea?
No.
Okay. Well, very famously, of course, a wise poet once said, "Wear a hat that's foil lined in case an alien
Oh my
is
God,
inclined to probe your butt or read your mind." That's from Weird Al's parody of Lord's song Royals, which was titled Foil.
I got some points for being able to quote that song at my new job when I went into the office.
What?
Because my boss's son is very into Weird Al. And then I showed her the picture of, actually it was on this set, our Gods the Unknown set, of you and me in our Halloween costumes, and I was Weird Al.
Oh my God.
Well, I like to think it got me points. Maybe I'm not so sure.
Maybe not. Yeah, you might be out of a job.
I also was quoting Handy.
Oh, wow.
First things first, I'm a craftsman. Rewiring is my only passion.
Kristen and I used to do a show that was about books, reviewing books. And we spent a whole episode reviewing the Weird Al album Mandatory Fun.
Oh my God, I should have told her. You know what? I shouldn't have.
There's a whole episode
Enough.
about it. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Enough is enough.
Yes.
So here's the origin of the tinfoil hat thing. Because basically it boils down to you wrap aluminum foil around your head. It protects you from mind readers or, alien ray guns, whatever. But here's where it comes from. There's a 1927 short story called The Tissue Culture King. The Tissue Culture King by Julian Huxley, brother of Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World. And it features people who use metal hats to avoid being mind controlled by an evil scientist. So I started reading into the story to see where it was first said. Here's a quote from the story. "We had discovered that metal was relatively impervious to the telepathic effect, and had prepared for ourselves a sort of tin pulpit, behind which we could stand while conducting experiments. This, combined with caps of metal foil, enormously reduced the effects on ourselves. With our metal coverings, we were immune."
Okay.
1927. And from there, the pop concept of wearing metal on your head to protect your brain from telepathic psychic attack was just out there in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, off and running.
Here are some odd studies and stuff. In 1962, Alan H. Fry discovered that the microwave auditory effect, which is the reception of the induced sounds by radio frequency electromagnetic signals heard as like clicks and buzzes, I guess electromagnetic sound, can be blocked by a patch of wire mesh placed above the temporal lobe.
Huh.
So there is some science to, an approximate of that. And in 2005, a tongue-in-cheek experimental study by a group of MIT students found that tinfoil hats do shield their wearers from radio waves over most of the tested spectrum.
I mean, I guess it's kind of that metal conducts electricity.
But therefore
So it could
blocks it?
I mean, I'm thinking of a Faraday cage.
Right.
Which is this thing that Tesla invented where he stood in this person-shaped cage made of metal wire.
Yeah.
And he could shoot crazy electricity at himself that looked like a bolt of lightning. And it would just fizzle all around the cage. It would only touch the cage but not go through to him. So maybe it's kind of a similar concept?
I don't know. There was a case in 2020 of an Uzbekistani citizen trying to cross the Belarusian and Lithuanian border illegally using aluminum foil padding in their clothes and a tinfoil hat to avoid detection by thermographic cameras. It was reported that
can't have worked.
It didn't work.
I know, I figure, but I'm saying, why would you think that would work?
I don't know.
If anything, the metal would get hot.
That's what I would think too.
Yeah.
He was caught. Evidently, the border guards face similar violations quite regularly. Tinfoil hats also feature prominently in the movie Signs.
Yes, they do.
By M. Night Shyamalan. And a couple years back in the 2019 Watchmen series, there's a character named Looking Glass who wears a sort of reflective, tinfoily looking fabric, and he's even lined all his clothes with it to ward off psychic attacks and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's just one of those things that's in the public consciousness, but where did it come from?
No, that's very cool.
It came from there.
That's where it came from. So, Will, I have. Do you Okay, this is something that I'm thinking about the report.
Yeah.
And basically them releasing it at all. Like what the deal is and why they would even go that way. Basically, if you were to boil it down, it's basically just saying we don't know what these things are. There is something,
There
and
are
we're looking
things.
into it.
Right.
That's basically what it is. So, but it's not completely benign. They do use the word threat
Yeah.
in the report. They do say that these things could be a threat. Is that? I was thinking that's like a little small tidbit to appease. Like, obviously, that's a little bit scary, but I wonder if they gave us a little bit of scary information so as not to be completely patronizing, whatever. That's assuming that there's more information that we know that is scary. Or I mean, not that we know, that they know. And maybe they gave us like a crumb of it to be like, look, we're not totally shutting you out of this. Like, some of your fears are legit. There maybe is a threat, but probably not. And it's just to kind of like, all right,
We'll
give you a
cover
little
every
something.
possibility. Well, the Dan
Yeah,
Aykroyd
we'll
thing, it could be one of
acknowledge.
three things.
Yeah.
They're either friendly, they don't care about us, or they're malevolent. Right now, there's an empty apartment across the street from me.
Yeah.
And you could easily say, like, well, we don't know who might move in there. They might become friends of ours. Maybe they'll leave us alone, or they could be a threat. Like, okay, but what does that really mean? Like, I guess could
doesn't
be
really
as
mean-
different from...
It doesn't mean anything. I guess I keep thinking about like the psychology of the people who put this together.
Right.
And like the reasons for, because they had to have been going over this with a fine-tooth comb, because while you're right, the general public, like, it wasn't like blaring on CNN or anything.
Yeah.
There are like a lot of like space and UFO nerds who have been salivating for this for years, who are going to climb all over it. And so they probably want to be extremely careful with their language and extremely specific.
Maybe.
So I just thought it was interesting that rather than like leaving any talk of danger out of it, that they acknowledged like there could be a threat here. And it made me wonder if there is anything larger than that.
Yeah. I don't know. I know that in the report...
they're minimizing
They
in
also
a way.
talk about pilots having near misses
Yeah.
with UAPs, which also implies that there could have been a collision.
Right.
Right? If you had a near miss, that means you could have been hit. And if you were hit, is that what? Just like an accident in the sky? Or is that, you know, some sort of an assault or an
Right.
attack? Like, I don't know. Like, threat and near miss, like these terms all indicate to me possible motive of something that we're describing as unidentified and unknown.
Yeah.
And who could tell what the motive could possibly be?
I know. I guess I'm more hooked into the motive of the real people who wrote this.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, entirely.
Because we have no idea.
We have no
We
idea.
don't know what this says. They don't know what they are. But like I said before, I still think it's really cool they're even acknowledging that they are a thing,
Right.
And that we don't know what they are.
and that there are people that report these things, that there's footage of stuff. They even in the report say that they have no reason to believe that it could be China or Russia.
Yes, right.
There's nothing in the report to necessarily refute that it could be another secret U.S.
right.
based, program that we're testing some sort of equipment ourselves.
Isn't there something that kind of refutes that?
I think that a lot
Now I
of
don't remember, because it also does talk kind of case by case at sometimes. So I
Yeah.
could be thinking about something specific where they're like, this isn't U.S.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But for sure, like, the U.S., like, we've got different agencies with different levels of clearance.
Yeah.
Right? And this one that's a task force to examine, in particular, UFOs and stuff, might be so low on the totem pole.
Right. I know. So again, I was like looking up stuff that Ryan Sprague was talking about this stuff, because his show, which is very good, we actually did an ad swap with Somewhere in the Skies about a year ago. It's all about UFOs and extraterrestrials and stuff like that. So he was like a good source for me to latch on to.
Right.
He was also talking about something that I haven't heard of before, but like it's lexicon that you can figure out. He was saying maybe they are U.S. technology, but it's part of like black budget technology.
Yeah, there you go.
Like
Right.
stuff that is just like so high up that even the people making these reports don't know about it. So is there a 40 or 70 page report that went out to the Congress people that we don't get to see? Is there a 150 page report that goes up to some higher tier?
Yeah.
Like who knows? We don't know.
We don't know.
And I find that fascinating.
I do. And similar...
and not impossible. Like I know it
Right.
sounds kind of conspiracy theory-ish, but it's not impossible. I really do think that like if we had proof of UFOs, I don't think they would share it willingly. That's part of
yeah.
why I'm saying they were their hand was forced in this report by the leaking of those videos in 2017. I don't think this would happen if like somebody who worked for the Pentagon went on the record and gave videos from the flight vehicles of actual pilots.
Yeah, I certainly think, personally, I think that it's far more likely that what is being documented is experimental U.S. technology that they're not
definitely more
permitted
likely.
to cover
Yeah.
than it is P2 floating
Right.
down from another galaxy.
But who's to say? Who's to say? Because we don't know.
Similar to you being intrigued by the sort of like psychology of the people that made the report, I'm very intrigued by like what, I've been commenting that like the discourse is pretty uninteresting around this report, or that people aren't really talking about, or maybe aren't that aware of it. But I do have some interesting responses from just like average people. So here's Brandon on Twitter, Gatormouth1980.
I've been waiting for him to chime in.
I know, haven't you? Who said, I could write a more comprehensive report on the shit I took this morning.
I would like to read that, Brandon.
Andrew L. at Bloodknock said, a whole lot of blah, blah, blah with nothing actually said. And a response from Voigt Kampf, would anyone expect anything else from the government?
Okay.
Just like but like, I'm saying these things because I think they're funny.
Yeah.
But also I do think that they're genuine indications of what people actually think of this. A 9-page declassified report that's predominantly vague and ends with, we need more funding.
Yeah.
And the response from people is, who cares? It's just interesting to take that sort of temperature.
Yeah.
Here's from Reddit, where people spend a lot more time writing.
Yes.
Map Dumbo wrote, the report is in 2 parts, a 9-page unclassified version and a 70-ish page classified annex, according to the reporting I've seen. And then a response from MTB Nut.
Okay.
I'm going to make an educated guess here, but I assume there's a third need-to-know part
Ah,
that
that's what
not
I was
even
saying.
Congress gets its hands on. Exactly. I was in the military and had a secret clearance. Now,
I don't think it's called the secret clearance.
I can't imagine it's called the secret clearance.
Also, there's just another way to phrase that. Like, even if we're saying...
I had top secret,
even if we're saying he's not
access.
saying it was called the secret clearance, to be so high up in the government, I don't know, it's not the best writing.
No, it's not at all. I was in the military and had a secret clearance. Like, I don't
believe you.
I don't believe you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Maybe you did.
Unfortunately, at this point, I'm going to not believe you.
At this juncture, it is my only option to not believe you. But let's continue reading.
Yeah.
However, even civilians know that just because you have top secret doesn't mean you go around asking every department to see their top secret stash.
I would.
It's for your eyes only. I write all this to make the claim that I am confident a lot of the good stuff was omitted from the report for obvious reasons, and I'm sure the Department of Defense played dumb most of the time. By admitting that they do know how that little tic-tac UFO went 100,000 miles per hour, it would be giving away our capabilities. So of course you claim you have no idea what happened. The Russians and the Chinese military don't need to know that we have radar capabilities that can track those things.
That's interesting.
We have to play along and claim that we're still in the 90s technology. Like,
I mean, that's an interesting point.
publicly, it's in the government's best interest to say, these things are outrageous. We can't do this.
Me
Because
not
if the rest
know.
of the world goes like, they've got a tic-tac thing that can just like zip, zoom, flip, fly all over the place.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's alarming, and it creates an arms race.
Yeah,
right?
totally. Yeah.
Which I think is a relatively interesting thought from MTB Nut, who said that they have secret clearance from the military.
Yeah,
which I
honestly,
don't believe.
I'm kind
So
of with MTB Nut.
I know it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky. Then there's this. I'm not gonna read the name on the show, but
Okay.
look at what it was. Isn't that crazy? Like,
How can I don't want to annoy the people at home. How can we say this? I don't know. It's sexual in nature and ends with the sexiest number you can think of. And it's they say that they're a blank crusher.
yeah, there you go. So many people in here don't see the forest through the trees. The report is a big deal, and take a few minutes to think about what's being said here. The government has gone on record stating it doesn't have the sovereignty in its own controlled airspace.
Okay,
Basically
yes.
saying, yeah, there's stuff that's flying around, we don't know what it is.
Yeah, and it got
we're
in.
fine with it. Yeah, got it. Like, what? You
It
can't-
got in fine.
Exactly, if you're just above the ground.
Yeah. Then you can come right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are 11
That all
cases.
makes a lot of sense.
It does. There are 11 cases where pilots had near misses with these objects. They think most of the sightings represent real physical objects being reported by credible witnesses. They were only able to conclusively identify one object, which turned out to be a balloon,
Yes, it was a partially deflated balloon.
which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's a balloon,
Yeah.
Serge. There's no intel suggesting they're Chinese or Russian. They apparently don't belong to us. Or that they apparently don't belong to us.
Right.
Some of these objects demonstrate flight patterns that appear to defy
Wait,
conventional
there's
laws
no
of physics.
sorry. There's no intel that they don't belong to us? Is that what it's saying?
There's no intel suggesting they're Chinese or Russian, and they apparently don't belong to us. I guess what they're saying is they're not Chinese, Russian, or
They're not ours.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
not
that's
ours.
what I thought. That
Yeah, I guess.
they weren't like, whatever.
Right, but this was their conclusion. I thought
Yeah.
this was interesting. Maybe they're lying about some or all of these findings, but if they aren't, how are we supposed to explain these objects? I'm not saying that it's most definitely aliens from planet Glorp Glop.
This person's pretty cool.
This person now is writing the way that I speak.
Yeah, right.
But I think people need to be prepared to think outside our tiny sphere of what is known to us.
I gotta tell you, I'm with P Crusher.
I know.
P Crusher has made some salient points.
I agree. And then the final thing I have is from Hotbox Grandma's Car,
Oh my god.
who makes another great point.
Reddit's awesome.
It's
It's amazing that like somebody
great
with these
points from
stupid
people with
names,
idiot names.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I
Does
actually
it-
love that.
Does it surprise you? Well, and that's what I mean about like wanting to like get the sense from like the average
Yeah.
world, just regular people that are dorks on Reddit posting. So
Take the Tempe of
are they
American
regular or
Joe.
not? I don't know.
Right.
But like it's interesting to see like what is the general response to this stuff. So again, from Hotbox Grandma's Car.
Mm-hmm.
Does it surprise you as much as me how if they'd shown these videos when we were 12, it almost there's almost a certainty the world would go apeshit.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's almost as if people just gloss over this stuff with little or no remarks from any news media.
I know.
That's the creepiest part to me.
Yeah,
and
it
that's
is.
an interesting perspective as well. The fact that they're and now, admittedly, I did look this up and I watched a video where Chris Cuomo on CNN was interviewing a few people about the potential risks of these things and could they be a threat or whatever. And then I was like, I wonder what like the exact opposite of this says. I wonder what Fox News says.
Yeah.
And I watched a clip of Tucker Carlson doing his I know, but I wanted to.
No, I go to Fox News regularly.
Do you really?
Because I want to know what they're saying.
I
go
do
on
not.
incognito mode.
Oh,
I've actually regularly is not really true. I used to do that really regularly.
Yeah.
When Trump was president.
Yeah, me no like.
Yeah.
I wish I hadn't said that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I watched a video where he was like, so what are these things? Now, the government tells you one thing, but we want answers. And I was like, oh, this is actually a bipartisan issue where
Well-
everyone is on the same page?
Yeah,
We all want to know.
it is. It actually is kind of a bipartisan issue. But also, like, super Fox News Republicans are, like, very mistrustful of the government right now. So this is sort of, like, right in the pocket.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's true.
You know? But in general, it is. Like, people all want to have more information.
What are these things?
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, it boils down to there are videos of things that are not conventionally understood.
Right.
That used to be the kind of thing that would get you funny looks for saying that you believed in it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's being declassified from the U.S. government that, yeah, we don't know what these are.
Right.
And it sort of is up to you to make your own conclusion still, as it always was,
Mm-hmm.
except the new difference is the government is confirming
Right.
that they're out there.
Right. Which is
That's
honestly
a
very cool.
Huge.
That is a huge
change.
deal.
A huge change.
It really is. I wish that. So it seems like it basically ends with like our next steps are we need more money.
Yeah.
And we want to like have this formalized process, widespread. I wish that there was and we'll be back to you in...
Stay tuned. We'll be back next week for
But there
more.
isn't.
No,
Like, we
there's
could not hear anything for a million years now.
Absolutely. This was referred to as a preliminary report, which does imply that there will be follow-ups.
Right, but
who's
there's
to
no
say?
solid plan for when we hear a follow-up.
Right.
And like I said, I just don't think, and I don't think this is such an out there theory of mine, I don't think they're dying to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't see them chomping at the bit to follow up with us.
It's true. They released it on a Friday where everybody was going out to see Fast and Furious 9. So
They wanted to spend time with their family.
exactly. It's about family.
It's always about family.
The last thing that I've got, I did look up to the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences to see what they had to say, and it was basically nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They had nothing to say.
I know there's been some discord in the To the Stars family.
Yeah, there has. Luis
Yeah.
Elizondo's out,
Yeah.
and Tom DeLonge, I guess, is still
Yeah.
kicking it. But I looked at their website, and I think there have been some updates since the last time that we were there. So on their website, it honestly sort of looks like what happens when you try to sign up for Hunt a Killer. You can
Okay.
scroll through, and they give you the rundown of who they are and what they do, and they boil it down to a very simple three-step
Oh, yeah.
organization. Here's what we do. To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences focuses on 3 areas. And I should say that for those of you that don't remember or don't know this, To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences is an organization founded by Blink-182 frontman Tom DeLonge and members of the government who used to,
Yeah.
I guess, be in the military, the Navy, claimed that they saw UFOs. So a few
We
years
actually
ago,
we have an article. We have an episode that's about that. I think it's like episode 10.
yeah, I'll give everybody homework about our previous UFO episodes. But so they formed this organization that's supposed to be an entertainment,
I mean, it's arts and sciences.
exactly.
So
they
it
study
backs,
UFOs, release information about UFOs, and make shows.
and like comic books and stuff.
So here's how they describe themselves these days. They focus on 3 areas. Number 1, collect and study anomalous data. So we research UFOs, UAPs. Step 2, develop technology related to findings. That is question mark, question mark, question mark. What technology are you coming up with? You're inventing technology based on UFO studies?
Remember there was in some article, and I'm so sorry this is so vague, but there was an article about how there's and I think it was confirmed that there is a building in Nevada, I think even Las Vegas, that has materials that are super mysterious and seem to be modeled after stuff that they thought UFOs might be made out of. So they could find a better way to say that, but I think that's what they're saying.
It's just weird that Tom DeLonge's company is developing technology, quote unquote.
Yeah.
When I thought it was, we're going to just share information with the world. So their third area of focus is explain to humanity through story.
That's
And
a tall order.
The icon for it is like a Hollywood clapboard.
Right.
Like scene 1, action, clap.
Well, I think they produce things that are like fiction about aliens. So I think they had like a Hulu cartoon show. I think they're comic books. So I guess they think anything that lets people know that aliens are a possibility
Sure.
is informing humanity.
Well, here's a production of theirs. They started a podcast, Kristen, called TTSA Talks, a new series to dive deeper than any other source into the complexity that surrounds TTSA's mission, To the Stars Academy's mission, and the various people and projects that are helping us achieve our goals. 8 episodes. Last one published September 2020.
Okay.
They have 237 reviews, some of
Okay.
which are, this sucks. To be fair, so do we. But
Podcasting ain't easy.
it ain't easy. But they made 8 shows and stopped. Just
okay.
radio silent after 8 episodes. And
What happened?
I know. Well, it's weird, right? Like, I went to their news
not that
section,
weird
and
to
it's
me.
like not an updated
There are a lot of
thing at
podcasts that
all.
are like that.
My impression is that it was not meant to be just 8 episodes.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows whether that was because the public didn't like it or they were like, this sucks.
Right. Well, my point sort of is that To the Stars was founded to be like a voice to get this stuff out there, but now the government's just releasing it themselves. So what?
That's true. Does it make To the Stars obsolete in
A
some
little
way?
bit, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. To the dumpster.
Yeah. Right.
It's gone.
Ouch.
Isn't it? It's kind of interesting if
Yeah.
you form an entire company that's around.
But
they
you know what?
won't
There's
release
always
the info,
more.
and then they do.
But did they entirely?
Well, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's always more, actually, now that I think about it. Because, again, if you think that there is a 9-page thing for us, 70-page thing for Congress, and maybe something bigger for everybody else, they could still be pursuing the bigger thing.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So, Kristen, I ask you, what conclusion do you draw?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think it's cool that they acknowledged that these things are actually out there and that they don't know exactly what they are. I have no idea. I can't know any better than they do.
Do you think, based on the fact that there are videos of...
It could be P2, but I don't know.
It could be P2.
I think it's not totally insane to think it's P2.
Okay. I personally still don't think that it's aliens, I should say. I was going to say UFOs, but they are UFOs.
Right.
It turns out they're definitely UFOs.
Yeah, totally. But they just might not have extraterrestrial beings in them.
Right. I ultimately, I've always been far more interested in ghosts and stuff than
Yeah.
aliens.
Same.
And even though one of them has now been proven to exist, let alone, not aliens, but UFOs are real.
Right, right.
And the government's saying, yeah, they're real. We still don't know what they are.
Yeah.
I'm still not interested. I think that I personally fall into the camp of like, all right, so now what?
Yeah.
Okay, I still have to go to work tomorrow. So I don't know. This changes my world in no way.
You could say that about everything.
But I feel like if ghosts, if ghosts
That would-
were real,
Yes.
I might not go to work tomorrow.
That's true.
Right?
I guess that's true.
It might be too shocking.
Cataclysmic.
Right. We've now got a government report that there are potential vehicles, we don't know what they are, that have been seen, and the government doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
And we're all like, yeah, what do you want for dinner?
Well, because there's no conclusion. Even though it's very cool that they're acknowledging that they're out there, that we can't do anything but say what's for dinner.
To some extent, the absence of a conclusion is also something of a bombshell.
Yes, absolutely. But it's still not a
It's
solid...
still boring.
Yeah, it's not... Yeah, it's boring. It's
Yeah.
not... It's interesting. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But it's not like... Yeah, it doesn't affect us.
Happy World UFO Day, everybody.
Yeah. I think it's cool and interesting. But
I think
it's
it's interesting purely on an intellectual level, and then my mind wants to go somewhere else. Did you read the report, like the report itself?
No.
I read.
I skimmed.
Yeah.
Because it's wordsy
I
and...
tried to read it.
Yeah.
And I found my mind just
Yeah.
drifting anywhere else.
Yeah, I too I like aliens more than you do, but they're not my bread and butter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I want to know what's going on and everything, but it's not a huge passion of mine or
it's
interest.
interesting to keep up with it. It's
Yeah.
interesting that it's actually coming out and that it's out there.
Yeah, I do think it's pretty nuts.
And I do like that, this is now almost like a thing that we've tracked since the start of the show.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, so I've got
I
the
will
other
continue
shows.
to keep my eye on it. I
think so,
I
too.
think it's very interesting, but
think
it
so,
doesn't
too.
capture me and capture my imagination the way that things like ghosts or other supernatural things do.
100%. So, here are the other places that we've talked about UFOs if people are into this. Guide to the Unknown, episode 10. We first covered the secret UFO program and Toynbee tiles. Episode 85, Five Nights at Freddy's and secret UFO program update. Our show used to be formatted very strangely.
Yes.
And 82, Dan Aykroyd believes in aliens and ghosts.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to track this from the beginning. I mean, actually, we started the show in 2017.
That's right.
So that first episode you listed was that news was hot off the presses.
And the news is hot off the presses now, here in
Right.
2021 in episode 190.
Right. So really, we're reporters.
We've been tracking it since the start. Yeah.
Keeping an eye on it.
All right, everybody. Well, I think that's it for the UFO update and our impression of it and us trying to make sense of how people are reacting to it. What might it mean?
Right.
And updates from some of our friends. I love to get a little Dan Aykroyd in there.
Oh, look, anytime we can. I'm so glad you thought of that.
Wonderful.
So
A
thank
wonderful
you.
man.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. If you want to help support the show and get even more Guides to the Unknown, please go to patreon.com/gttupod, where for $4 or more per month, you can help the show keep going and stay what it is and even grow. Plus, as a thank you, we give you a bonus episode every month. There's an awesome Discord with other listeners in it. We do monthly live streams and also just little random bonuses here and there. Like this week, we released a 20-minute mini-sode in addition to the monthly bonus episode.
Yeah. So last week we had talked about celebrity urban legends, like the Richard Gere gerbil thing.
Yeah.
Like the idea that Eminem might have been killed by the Illuminati. And we had so much that we spun it off into a little bonus show that we put up on patreon.com/gttupod, where we talked about the theory that, Terrence Howard, celebrity Terrence Howard, has created his own kind of math. He's really pissed off that somebody said 1 × 1 is 1.
Yes.
It really boils down to that.
Yes.
That seems to be the inciting incident that made him eventually create his own math called Teriology. So we talked about that.
We talk about that. We talk about the urban legend that Mr. Rogers was a Navy SEAL who's actually covered in tattoos, and that's why he wears that cardigan.
And he's killed people.
Yeah,
He's
right.
like sniped
He's
people.
killed a man.
Hey.
So it's really cool, and that's all over at Patreon if you decide that you want to support the show and thank us for these free shows every week.
Yeah, check it out, everybody.
Yeah.
So we will be back next week for more spooky old stories. Until then, follow at GTTUpod. Follow us online.
That's right. I'm at Chillin' Kristen everywhere and at Aggressively Cozy.
Yeah, that's right. Follow at Aggressively Cozy. And I am at The Myth Traveler. But we'll be back next time, folks. And until that time comes, we must travel
To the stars. Go we.
Is it weird that the UFO report came out and now Jeff Bezos is going into space?
Maybe he read that and he's like, that sounds pretty good.
Maybe he's like, I'll be a UFO.
Yeah, right.
The people signed a petition to not allow him
Yeah,
to come back.
keep him in space. I know. It's really funny.
Well, Jeff, horrible news, but popular opinion is you got to just stay out there now.
You have to live there now.
Kind of awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So how is everybody?
What's up?
Hope you enjoyed.
I just saw this in the group. Christy Spinks posted this. A screenshot of a news article. Boys report spotting UFOs. Unidentified flying objects are continuing to haunt the sky over Zanesville, according to 2 Putnam area youngsters, Roger Miller and Danny Spinks, say they saw 8 Friday night while they were camping out in the backyard of the Miller home.
That's
The boys
cool.
said that they'd been seeing them for a week or 2, but were afraid to tell anyone for fear they wouldn't be believed. For fear they wouldn't believe them until other people reported the same thing.
That's cool, Christy.
That's super cool, Christy.
You're part of a legacy
I
of
love that.
UFO viewers.
Yeah, that's super cool.
That's awesome.
Also from the group, it's still basically a tie. UFO footage is aliens, or what are you talking about?
Interesting. By the way, the group we're talking about is facebook.com/GT. No, facebook.com/groups/GTTUpod. If you want to join our private Facebook group, we would love to have you.
Join up, everybody.
Andrea says that she was grocery shopping while listening, and that she doesn't remember buying half of what she brought home. That's awesome. I hope it was good stuff. I hope it was all stuff that was like round shaped like flying saucers. You got a bunch of those like little pies.
Yeah, aren't flying
Cookies.
saucers an ice cream thing? Right?
Yeah, they
like
are.
Ice cream sandwiches?
Yeah, from Carvel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool, guys. I hope you enjoyed the
Alright.
show. And yeah, Chrissy says that aliens are going to attack on Sunday. It's Independence Day.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, right. 4th of July.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Anastasia. Anastasia finally became another world warrior.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you. I hope you like all the stuff over there. There's a lot to dig into.
Yeah, there really is.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome, everyone. What do you guys think of the UFO? Can we get like a thumbs up if you think it's aliens, or thumbs down if you think it's just
A regular spaceship that we don't know about. Or not space. I mean, a regular aircraft technology.
thumbs up if you think it's an alien. Thumbs down if you think it's a regular old spaceship.
Just a regular spaceship.
just a regular old
Caitlin thinks it's a regular old spaceship.
just a regular.
Alf was an alien, Rebecca. That's why he ate cats. That's why he ate cats.
I'm sorry. It's not that funny. It took me a second to even like realize what you were saying. Thumbs down if you think it's a regular old spaceship.
All right. It's 1-1 right now. Kat thinks it is aliens.
Someone break the tie.
Chrissy says, I think there's something else out there, and after checking us out, they said hell no and have left us alone. Not
That's
impossible.
interesting. I'm looking up the Alf wiki to see if he has a bio.
Anastasia agrees. I assume with, well, Anastasia went with a pointing upward emoji that could reference either Caitlin or Kat. Anastasia,
Okay.
tell us. Break the tie.
ALF is an acronym standing for Alien Life
Yes.
Form. He has a girlfriend named Rhonda. Mm-hmm. You knew that?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Paul Fusco created the character in 1984 using an alien-looking puppet that he used to annoy his family and friends.
Oh my God.
Bernie Brillstein was approached to see Fusco's audition with a puppet character, but was initially uninterested, having managed Jim Henson for years, and regarding Henson as the best creature puppeteer in showbiz. Fusco was notoriously secretive about his character up until the series premiere. During the show's production, Fusco refused to acknowledge that the puppet Alf was anything other than an alien. All involved with the production
What else
were
would he be? What do you
cautioned
mean?
not to reveal any of Alf's production secrets. I guess they're saying they were pretending it was real.
In real life. Okay.
To avoid wear and tear on the principal Alf puppet, the performers rehearsed with a crude early version of Alf, nicknamed Ralph.
Okay. Well, I've certainly learned a lot about Elf tonight.
You want to know more?
No, I'm fine. Most people think that it could be aliens.
Really? Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of thumbs ups.
Yes. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4. 4-1.
Okay. Most people say
Well,
alien,
4-2
yeah.
because William is with you, Caitlin.
Interesting.
I guess I will give you one of these.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, but I think it's possible.
Psychedelic.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, everybody.
Well, it's skadoosh.
Let's skadoosh.
Because this show comes out tomorrow, which means...
Oh, that's right. So
We
gotta
gotta make it.
We got to make it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Talking about aliens with us for a while. We hope you had fun. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we'll see you around.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
In the skies.
Oh.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.